Black Ops 6 Zombies looks absolutely phenomenal. From the gameplay reveal, it seems like Treyarch are almost doing everything the community has been asking for over the past few years, and they've taken heavy inspiration from both Black Ops 3 and Cold War Zombies, merging the best of both worlds to hopefully create the ultimate zombies experience. They are bringing back Gobblegums, they are bringing back harder main quests with a guided quest for the more casual people weeks after maps release, as well as the maps are now all fully unique with absolutely enthralling atmospheres that Cold War Zombies' maps were lacking. Terminus has been described as one of the largest maps ever with the most amount of side quests. They are doing almost everything in their power to make us fans happy. However, like with any game, Black Ops 6 Zombies is not perfect, so whilst almost everything we have been hearing has been good news, I thought I would compile everything that concerns me thus far, all of the bad things that we know about Black Ops 6 Zombies just yet. Now, some of these may not actually be bad, and they're just kind of queries that I have, and things that can probably be tweaked. This video is not a hate video or anything like that. Like I said, overall, Black Ops 6 Zombies looks absolutely incredible, but it could be even better with some tweaks to some of the concerns that I'm about to discuss. So the first thing that I'm concerned about is regarding the HUD and its customization. So the past few Zombies games since Cold War have had a very multiplayer / Warzone-esque HUD. The HUD is pretty much one and the same with the other modes in the game. It doesn't have that unique sparkle to it like past Zombies' HUDs have had. For example, the super simple HUD that we had in Black Ops 1 with the blood splatter, and the HUD in Black Ops 3 Zombies was phenomenal as well. Black Ops 4 Zombies' HUD looked absolutely disgusting, and it was a complete mistake that was just way too overcomplicated. Now with Black Ops 6 Zombies, whilst the HUD is pretty much the same as Cold War Zombies, the good news is that it is customizable just as in the other modes, multiplayer, Warzone, and the campaign too. However, it's not as customizable as we previously thought. Basically, we are just going to be able to select from a set number of presets that Treyarch have designed from us. Previously, the way it was described to us, we thought that we would literally be able to shift and move about any part of the HUD to our own discretion. We thought that we would be able to remove any part of the HUD that we did not want to our own discretion, but it's not going to function like that practically in the game. We are just going to be able to select set presets. So whilst there are presets to remove parts of the HUD that you don't want necessarily, for example, there are presets where there is no minimap, there are presets where there's no XP icons popping up on screen, or there's no medals. There's even a preset, I believe, where there's no HUD at all whatsoever. But it is not as customizable as we once thought, and there's even a Black Ops 3 inspired HUD. However, the HUD just simply positions all of the icons in a similar way to Black Ops 3's. It doesn't actually look like Black Ops 3's HUD. So these are two bad things about Black Ops 6 Zombies. One is that the HUD is not fully customizable, but I like that we are at least able to get different presets, and I hope that Treyarch can work on the way this functions to allow us to fully customize it. The next criticism I have is that the HUD is not unique, and it doesn't really blend in with the unique atmosphere of Zombies. Now, many people say, well, it's just a HUD, it's not that big of a deal, and I do agree to an extent, but it is the thing that you are constantly looking at on the screen, and whilst you can remove the HUD entirely, of course that's not very practical. You might want to use that every now and again to experience the atmosphere or for a challenge, but you're going to be held back by not having the features that help you in the game. So I really hope that Treyarch can respond to feedback so that they can create a design that is unique to Zombies, because many different fans have actually created their own versions of what the HUD could look like, and they do look so much better, and it shows you how much better the game can look with just a simple tweak to the aesthetic of the HUD. I don't know why they've kept it so simple and so similar to multiplayer and Warzone. I really think they do need to go for a unique HUD. In fact, if they're not going to change all of the presets, even if they could just change Black Ops 3's preset so that that HUD is just like Black Ops 3's, that would be a good choice as well. Again, some fans have created their own custom design of what Black Ops 3's HUD could look like inside of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and whilst it's not perfect, it shows you just the difference that makes to the visuals of the game. Now yes, this isn't a big deal, but I do think that the HUD is something that Treyarch should look into, because even in the early gameplay that they provided of Terminus, they removed the HUD entirely, so surely they anticipated that this was going to be a complaint that people would have, for them to remove it entirely, and for us to just be able to enjoy the atmosphere of the map. Clearly they thought that the HUD would take away from that. Now this brings me on to the next bad thing about Black Ops 6 Zombies, and this isn't that big of a deal, reveal, unless you are a content creator, is that there's going to be no theater mode in the game. And this absolutely sucks. Theater mode is returning, but it's going to be exclusive to multiplayer, not within zombies. And when we heard that theater would be back, they never mentioned anything about zombies, so I thought it would be in zombies as well, and I was looking forward to this because this would help with making YouTube videos, especially storyline videos. Of course, by the time that the game comes to a conclusion, I'll probably make an entire Black Ops 6 zombie storyline video, and being able to grab B-roll within theater mode and showcase the environments on the maps would be so helpful for that, but unfortunately there is no theater mode. Now, most likely this is because it requires a lot of development. That's why it was initially removed entirely. It actually requires a lot more work than meets the eye, and if you ever experienced theater mode in the past, such as in Black Ops 3 Zombies, it was extremely laggy and would crash all of the time. It caused so many issues in the game, and that's probably why it's not back in Zombies as well. Of course, theater mode would also allow Easter egg steps to leak. People could go onto the map and find different items that would be required in the Easter egg, or explore the boss fight area before the Easter egg would be solved, but I don't think that's as big of a deal. A simple fix to this would just be to lock the theater mode until, for example, the guided version of the Easter egg releases. So this is the other bad thing, but I'm sure Treyarch do want to do a theater mode. I'm sure this is some sort of hardware problem. Like I said, in the past it was extremely glitchy and laggy, and that's probably why it is not back, unfortunately. But I hope that Treyarch can continue to develop this and hopefully get a version of theater working at some point in time. It's probably something they tried to do, but ultimately the game's hardware just didn't allow for it, unfortunately. Now, like I said, we are able to apparently remove the entire HUD, so this would be a way to get B-roll, but of course you're still going to have the weapon, so you're not going to be able to just free roam around the map like you could in theater mode. So it's still better to grab B-roll this way, but it's still not an ideal scenario. I guess we're going to have to do like we did in Cold War Zombies or Vanguard, where you would have to pull out a monkey bomb to grab B-roll. At least it'll be easier this time with no HUD though. I do understand though this is mainly a concern for YouTubers. If you're not a content creator, there's not as much concern for this. Furthermore, let's actually talk about the gameplay of the game, because this is stuff that's probably more worrisome, because the features I just mentioned are of course not actually pertaining to the physical gameplay. This is regarding the armor system in the game. So armor is back, however it's going to be basically an entirely new system. It's kind of a merger between Modern Warfare 3's and Cold War's armor system. So now there's not going to be an armor station, instead there are going to be armor wall buys, and you will have 3 slots for armor, just like in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, just like in Warzone, and you will have to go up to it to purchase tier 2 or tier 3 armor to allow you to have 2 or 3 slots. Armor plates will drop as you are killing zombies. You'll get more armor from armored zombies, etc. However, unlike in Cold War Zombies, where armor would replenish automatically as you would pick up these drops, it no longer does inside of Black Ops 6 Zombies. You will actually pick up the armor automatically, however it will not apply. You have to manually apply the armor just like you do in Warzone, just like you do in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, and I really don't like this. It's annoying. Sometimes you even forget to do it, and people who played the game early said that sometimes they would forget to do it, so I don't like this system at all. So you're able to have up to 3 armor on your person, but you will also be able to carry up to 3 armor reserves. So you can only have 3 extras. There's not like a backpack or anything like that like we have in Modern Warfare 3, because pretty much armor is the only additional thing you can carry, and 3 seems quite limited to me. You're obviously going to be collecting armor all of the time. 3 seems extremely limited, so I really wish that Treyarch can change this so armor just applies automatically. It's an annoying thing, and I think it disrupts gameplay quite a lot, and when you are getting raided by a bunch of zombies, you don't want to be thinking about applying that armor. I think it made more sense inside of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies because it's an open world experience with much larger play space, giving you more room to breathe at times to apply armor, but I don't really like this at all, so I really hope that Treyarch can respond to feedback and tweak this in some way. Honestly, I don't mind that armor is back. I know some people don't want to see armor at all, they just want to see, you know, your regular health, and then you have Juggernaut to upgrade your health, and I can see the argument for that as well. Of course, with armor, it allows you to take a lot more hits. When you would get hit, it would take off some of your armor, but then it would also take off some of your health. But if you had armor, it would act as a cushion, so it wouldn't take off as much of your health until it would break. I guess it's probably going to be like Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. In Cold War, you would constantly have to run back to the armor station to repair your armor, so I guess this solves that problem, but it just creates another problem at the same time. So like I said, I think it should still just be a regular drop that you pick up, more regular than it was in Cold War, when an armor vest would drop. However, I just think it should be automatically applied, even if that means maybe there's like a 10-second gap between when you pick it up and it being automatically applied. But it's annoying having to manually do that, and the fact it creates an animation on screen as you are doing so. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies saw the golden armor schematic, which kind of solved this problem, so maybe there's going to be something like that in the game. Let me know in the comments, do you want to see armor in this game? Would you rather there be no armor? If you are fine with armor, would you rather it be automatically applied? In addition, the other potentially bad thing, well, I guess this is how you look at it. Personally, I don't see this as a bad thing that much, but I understand how many in the community are vocal about not liking this, is that the point system inside of the game is going to be exactly like it was in Cold War Zombies. So of course we used to have a classic point system where you would get 10 points for every single shot you would put into a zombie, including ricochet shots if you would shoot through many different hordes. And this was the same up until Black Ops 3 Zombies, so essentially this would allow you to rack up a lot of points on early rounds if you just shoot the legs instead. And of course this was something that not all Zombies fans would know. You would have to be familiar with Zombies. If you're a new player, you probably wouldn't understand these techniques. Then with Black Ops 4 Zombies, they changed the point system. I can't even remember honestly how exactly it worked, but then they changed it again with Cold War Zombies. Now I believe it was sort of similar to how it was in Black Ops 4 Zombies, but a bit different. Basically in Cold War Zombies, the way they changed it is that you get a set amount of points after you kill a zombie. So you don't get any points for shooting the zombie itself, you just get a set amount of points for the final kill. So you have a set amount of points for a standard kill, you would then get a set amount of points for a critical kill, which would be if you would kill a zombie via melee or a headshot or via its critical points on bosses or special enemies. So this meant that you wouldn't be able to rack up a load of points by just spam firing a poor weapon, for example, into a horde of zombies on a higher round, like people used to do. The reason they changed this was, like I said, they wanted new players to not have to do these quirky techniques to build up more points, and they thought that it was kind of a bit of a broken system. Personally, I'm not that concerned with this. I don't mind the new system. I liked the old system and I like the new system. I think there's an argument to be had for both, but I can understand how some of you may not like this, and that's why I've brought it up in this video. Personally though, I don't think it's the biggest concern in the world, although apparently some of the YouTubers who played early did say that points was a bit of an issue.
Well, some of the system changes that follow on from Cold War haven't changed, and that includes the point system. It's the same point system as what we got in Cold War, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but when I played it, I did feel that gaining points was quite slow. That could have been due to the fact that I was playing in 4-player and maybe they were taking a lot more of the zombies than what I was getting. But early on in the game, I didn't really feel like I was struggling to gain points, but as the game got on, I felt like it was actually a lot more harder for me to gain points. And obviously that could be because the zombies are a lot stronger, my gun is weaker, but I felt like there was just something slightly off with the amount of points that I was gaining.
Moving on, the other potentially bad thing about the gameplay is that loadout weapons are returning. Now the reason why I say potentially bad is that once again, this isn't something that I am that concerned about, but I know that many in the community are, which is again why I'm bringing it up. So you can start with any weapon in the game straight from spawn, as well as melee weapon, I guess, if you wish. Now people argue that this removes the acceleration and the build-up of power inside of the game, because before you used to start with just a really terrible starting pistol such as the M1911, and you would build up to better and better weapons as you would progress. People argue that this defeats the point of the mystery box, or it defeats the point of war weapons. Now you can still start with a pistol if you want to do so you can still have that progression, but it's up to you. Now of course I assume at the start of the game you won't have many weapons unlocked until you start leveling up, so when you first play the game you're probably going to have to use a pistol. Now whilst yes, you can still use a pistol, in Cold War Zombies the pistols were still good straight off the get-go, and you can of course attach camos, attachments, etc. to make them a lot better. Then you have the super Easter egg at the end of the game, so you could start with a higher rarity weapon straight from spawn as well. Now they've changed it a bit with Black Ops 6 Zombies because you can actually set loadout weapons not just for your starting weapon, but for war weapons as well as inside of the mystery box, so it still provides a use to them. It's kind of a bit of a mixture between Black Ops 3's system where you would be able to attach attachments onto weapons regardless of if you get it from the box or the war weapon, so they've kind of merged the two different systems together, so this kind of mitigates that a little bit. Now whilst you can do this, of course the loadout weapon you spawn in with is probably the one you want to use for the whole game, so you can set whatever attachments you want for it, so this really only provides a purpose for your second weapon. You can still spin the mystery box or buy a war buy, of course on higher rounds once they've gotten to better rare rarities, and then get the secondary weapon you want with all of the attachments you want once again. So I don't think this really solves the problem of spawning in with the weapon you want, it just provides more use to the mystery box as well as the war buys. Now yes, I understand that you still can start with a starting weapon that has a lot of power, but at the same time, you have the weapon rarities, you have the Pack-a-Punch, and for people who have played early, they say by round 15, with a Pack-a-Punch tier 1 weapon, it's just not really doing much damage. So that's the progression, is leveling up your weapon tier as well as the Pack-a-Punch levels, putting on ammo mods as well. So I don't think this is too big of an issue. I understand what people are saying. However, we've had many zombies games in the past which would allow you to just start with a pistol. You can still go back to those old games if you like that experience. This is trying to be something different. At the same time though, I hope that Treyarch do have some sort of side mode that allows you to just start with a starting weapon and maybe more limited gameplay features. For example, they had a survival version of Outbreak in Cold War Zombies where you would just start with a pistol. You wouldn't have your mini-map, you wouldn't have loads of indicators on screen that would help you. You would not have automatic health regen as well, you would have to eat food. So maybe they could do some sort of mode where it's a lot more difficult and you do start with a pistol inside of this game. Now the other bad thing I want to mention is regarding perks that are absent at launch. So at launch there is no tombstone, however there is apparently an augment for Juggernog that allows you to go into Dying Wish, which is kind of similar to tombstone, so maybe that's why it's not there. And there's also no mule kick, which allows you to have 3 weapons. Now apparently you're able to have a melee weapon as basically a third weapon that you can pull out separate to your regular weapons by holding triangle. So I like that, but from people who played early, they say that ammunition gets very limited. Now it seems like mule kick is probably going to be coming in its post-launch because Codename Pizza had asked Treyarch, is there mule kick, to which they said not on Terminus, implying that it could be on a future map. However, as it currently stands at launch, there is no mule kick. Now even if it just comes as a machine on a future map, it will probably be added into the Wonder Fizz inside of the game. Now the reason why I say this is a bad thing is that at launch, because we might be waiting for some of these perks, it's going to make the mode feel more limited and where you may not be able to experience the full enjoyment of the map as they would with future perks added. I personally think that all of the perks such as Tombstone and Mule Kick, any that we've had in the past should be there in launch. I think that post-launch should be dedicated to brand new perks. That's just personally how I feel. I guess this isn't too big of an issue because, like I say, Mule Kick will probably come down the line, but let's say we have to wait for 5 months. Maybe that's just too long. And speaking of the Wonder Fizz, I guess this can be regarded as another bad thing because many people said in Cold War Zombies because the Wonder Fizz worked differently to in the past where you would just be able to purchase every single perk from the Wonder Fizz machine. Now, we know that there's at least one Wonder Fizz machine located in the boat on Terminus. We don't know if there's other spots around the map, but people would argue, well, you could just go up to the Wonder Fizz machine. You didn't need to learn the locations of the perks. You could just buy them all from there, defeating the point of the perk machines and knowing their locations. I do understand that argument, but I think the Wonder Fizz does just allow for ease of access as well, especially because Terminus is such a large map. I don't really want to be so concerned about running all over the map to get all of the perks. It's just so much easier to go to the Wonder Fizz machine, but I do understand this point, so I don't know how Treyarch can mitigate this because I do see both arguments here, and having the Wonder Fizz machine allows them to of course add DLC perks in the future that then get added into the Wonder Fizz machine on these maps as well, although I guess technically they could also add the machine onto the map, but it didn't seem to be something they did in Cold War. Now of course the way the Wonder Fizz machine worked in the past and when it was first introduced on Origins was it would just give you a random perk from it, so it was kind of like the mystery box, a risk versus reward, but the reason why it was random before was because of course you had a limited amount of perks you could have for, unless you got bonuses via side quests, but now there's no perk limit in the game so you can get as many as you want, so I guess the random aspect wouldn't be as worrisome, but yeah, I do think maybe they could add a randomness to it, but again, it still wouldn't be that big of a deal because you can get all of the perks now. The randomness aspect before meant that you could get a perk you didn't want and then you just wouldn't drink it, meaning that you would just waste points, just like if you were to spin the mystery box and you got a weapon you didn't want. The other bad thing regarding the gameplay is kind of based on a leak, so I want to stress that this is just a leak. We don't actually know how it's going to be implemented, so it might not even be a bad thing. So on Terminus, of course, as you are exploring the map, opening doors, etc., there's dynamic elements where you can see, for example, Terminus guards being attacked by zombies that can then come and charge you. This is really cool, makes the map feel more alive. There's going to be something similar as well on the other maps, including the other launch map, Liberty Falls. Now, Liberty Falls, it seems like as we're playing, is going to be happening during a zombie outbreak. So we're actually going to be playing the map and jumping into the map as people are still trying to evacuate the city. So you can also come across civilians that are being attacked by zombies. However, it's going to be different on Terminus where I don't think you can actually rescue these people on the map. I could be wrong, maybe there's some side quests on Terminus that allow you to do this as well, but on Liberty Falls, according to leaks, we're actually going to be able to rescue civilians to bring them to the evacuation zone. Now, the reason why I bring this up as a potentially bad thing is we had this in Exo Zombies, and it was a forced thing that you had to do that was really frustrating and really annoying and disrupted the gameplay a lot. Now, I'm assuming on Liberty Falls it's just going to be an optional thing or just side Easter eggs that you're able to do, and maybe you'll get a reward at the end for rescuing them. If it is implemented in that way, where you're just exploring the map, you might find a lost person hiding away in a fridge or in a locker room or something like that, and then you can choose to rescue them, then that's a great thing. Or maybe even a person's being attacked by a zombie, if you kill the zombie quick enough, they may stay alive, and then you can rescue them. If it's implemented in that way, I think this is great fun, and it's just an optional thing to get rewards. However, if it's forced upon us, that's when we're going to have an issue. But I don't think it's going to be forced, or maybe it's going to be within the main Easter egg or side Easter eggs, like I said. I don't think it's going to be forced because I think Treyarch have probably seen how much people hated it within Exo Zombies. But overall, if this isn't forced, I think this is an amazing feature to make the map feel more alive. I think this is the first Zombies map ever as well, where we're going to be playing live as the outbreak is actually ensuing as well, which is so much fun. And there's probably going to be loads more dynamic elements like this, just like there are on Terminus with the twitching zombies on the gurneys that you can also shoot if you want, or the zombies breaking out of the test tubes. There's probably going to be stuff like that on Liberty Falls similarly. The last thing I want to mention regarding the gameplay before I go on to my final point, which is not regarding the gameplay specifically, is regarding the augments. Now, the augments do sound like an amazing feature. So as you know, there's minor and major augments that you can get for every single item in the game, such as perks, field upgrades, etc. These basically work like the crystal tier upgrades we had in Cold War Zombies. The minor augments are limited advantages, with the major ones of course being more substantial. For every single perk, ammo mod, or field upgrade in the game, there are 6 different research augments that you can find around the map. Now, we don't know how we're going to get all of these augments. I assume some are going to be via side quests, some are just going to be for certain challenges or milestones that you do in the game. They sound like a lot of fun. So the 6 you can find for every single one. However, you can only imbue 2 of them, 1 minor and 1 major for each item, meaning that out of the 12 you can find, you will only ever be able to equip 2 to each item. Now, the reason why I'm putting this in a bad section is because I understand what Treyarch are doing, and I do think that this provides a lot of fun ways to mix and match the different augments of all of the different items in the game, and of course you can mix and match them with the gobblegums as well, which you can now actually have up to 3 on your person at a time as well, which I think is great. And maybe you'll get some augments as well just for going to certain rounds or something like that, or even just playing the game. But anyways, the reason why I'm putting this in a bad thing is we know that there's probably going to be loads of augments that you wish you could use, but there's probably going to be better ones that you're going to have to choose instead. And it kind of makes me feel like I wish it was just like Cold War Zombies, where we can just equip all of them. And I understand it would make us extremely overpowered, it would make the game so easy, but that's kind of just how I feel. I wish there was maybe a mode where we were able to have all of the augments. I don't know, maybe that's too much work for Treyarch. I like the fact we can mix and match, and it provides a bit of strategy to the game, because you're going to have to choose which ones you think would be best. But for example, we know there's going to be an augment for PhD Flopper that will also have PhD Slider. But let's just say there's a much better one for PhD Flopper that you have to use instead. Then you can no longer have PhD Slider, but PhD Slider is just very fun. So maybe you're not able to use it to use a better one instead, but then you don't get to use the fun aspect, because I assume a lot of the augments, while some of them might not be the best ones, they're still going to be fun to use. Now, of course, I know you can change them between every single game, so you will be able to experience all of them in games, but maybe just not all in one game. And I understand that, but how this is probably going to go is people are going to find their favorite ones and they're just going to stick to them. So as you are unlocking them, you'll be able to use them quite a bit, but I just kind of wish we were able to use all of them. I know many people are probably going to disagree and they're going to say it would make us too overpowered, but I liked the way the crystal system worked in Cold War Zombies. Like I say, I feel like there's just going to be so many fun ones that we're just not going to be able to use very often, because there's going to be better ones. And I don't really know how Treyarch can counteract this, because I get what they're doing, like I said, with allowing us to pick and choose, and it creates strategy, and if they were to allow us to have all of them, it's removing that strategy they want to have in the game. But at the same time, like I said, we may not be able to experience a lot of augments we wish we could, or if we do experience them, it might just be a limited time until we unlock something that's better. But this isn't too big of a concern I have. Of course, this is going to provide so much exploration and fun with the gameplay, because there's literally 12 augments you can try out for every single one, and of course the way you mix and match them as well will provide a lot of replayability. I think that the augments are going to provide so much replay value, because you will be testing them all out to try and see which is better, etc. And I like that that's what it provides, but like like I say, I wish at the same time we could jump into a game with literally all of them, even if it is really overpowered. I don't know, maybe they could do a limited time mode, or maybe like every single weekend there's a mode where you can use all of the augments and it just doesn't count for the leaderboards for the main map. Maybe there's a separate leaderboard just for this mode, but I would like a fun mode where we can just use all of them and you're just incredibly overpowered. I don't think it should be the main mode. Like I say, I like the replay value this provides, and maybe if they were to do a limited time mode where you can use all of them, it should come ages after launch, so you've gotten a chance to try out all of the augments. And of course there will be more augments added as well in the seasonal content and in the DLC, so there'll be more to explore. But yeah, personally I think maybe, you know, months after launch it would be great to be able to use all of the augments. In fact, this might actually be a cool idea for a super Easter egg reward. For completing all of the Easter eggs at the end of the game, you get to use all augments. Well, maybe you can turn it on and off, so you can play the default game or you can play the super Easter egg version, and again there should be a separate leaderboard for that. So yeah, maybe this is how you solve this problem. You have this as a super Easter egg reward. Wouldn't that be perfect? Overall, I think that augments are a massive positive for the game, and it gives a very long grind to the game to unlock them all, with there literally being over 200 on launch. I don't think augments in of themselves are bad. It's a great feature for replayability. I've just discussed one potential negative of them. I do think that Treyarch should not let us have them all unless it's for a bonus mode or for a super Easter egg reward, etc. Having them limited in the base game is balanced and creates strategy and replayability, but I still wish I could use them all in some way merely for fun. The final bad thing I want to mention, like I said, is not regarding the gameplay specifically, but it's regarding the fact that you always have to remain online in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and even in the campaign, in all modes. There is no offline play. All of the modes require mandatory texture streaming, whereas before it used to be optional. Now this is both a good and a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because Treyarch have said that because they've shifted all of the stress to the server side instead of the hardware side, it means that they can have much more on the map. So now the zombies far exceed 24 on the map at once. You have many more zombies on the map. You have much bigger maps. Terminus is huge. It's allowed them to do so much more because of this. But at the same time, because you're always going to be online, it seems like there's going to be dedicated servers. It's going to be like Vanguard Zombies and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, where even on solo, you could experience packet loss, you can experience lag, you can disconnect from your game. So this is definitely a really bad thing, but it doesn't seem like it's ever going to get changed because of the fact that this has allowed them to do certain features in the game that they couldn't do otherwise. And also, eventually, if the servers shut down in 15-20 years time, it completely kills game preservation because you're never going to be able to play the mode anymore. At the same time, Treyarch have implemented a brand new feature which allows you to save your game, but you are only able to save your game when you're at full health, and you can only have one save game slot in the game. So this is not per map. You cannot have one save per map. It's just per game. I personally think they should change this to allow it to be per map, and also you are able to jump into a brand new game even if you have a save game. However, if you then save that game, it'll of course overwrite the prior save you have had. And also, they've made it so that if you disconnect in a multiplayer game, you are able to rejoin back into that game with all of your stuff straight away. So this is great, and it does seem like if you crash on solo or disconnect or whatever, the game will automatically be saving as well to jump back into your game. At least that's how it sounds. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I hope that the game has two different versions of save. I don't think this is actually how it works, so Treyarch should implement this if it's not like this already, but you can do the manual save, but I think there then should be an automatic save as well, where anytime in your game and you're at 100 health, it should automatically save a game that's separate to your manual save, so that, like I said, if you crash, if you disconnect, you can jump straight back into that game with everything. This solves the problem of lag as well, because it only saves if you're at full health. So if you lag, you start taking damage, it's not going to be jumping you back into that game midway whilst you're taking damage and then you down straight away as soon as you spawn in. So yeah, these are all of the bad things about the game. Let me know in the comments, do you agree with me on all of these things? Also, let me know if you think of any other bad things that I have not included in this video. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.